wanted a big family, but it took me 10 years, and I'm not going to tell you how many husbands, to finally have my beautiful baby girl. But I wanted another kid. But it seemed like all of my parts just packed up and went somewhere else. So nothing happened. It was not to be. So my husband and I went to Mexico. Not to drink margaritas and lay on the beach. We went to Mexico to adopt a 7-year-old girl. It took 2 years and 3 trips to Mexico, and finally the adoption was finalized. And my friend said to me, well, do you speak Spanish? No. Does she speak English? No. Oh, then what the hell are you doing? Imagine this kid has lived 7 years in a Mexican orphanage and all of a sudden finds herself one day in suburban Philadelphia. So, truthfully, by that time, my older daughter was 9 years old. And we thought, hey, maybe they'll get along and this will be great. Nah, not so much. We tried to do some family things together, like dinner on the porch and family dreams, and we wanted to love her. She was the cutest damn thing. Long jet black hair, big brown eyes, a toothy grin, cuter than a little mini taco. And I wanted to love her. I wanted to hug her, but she wouldn't let me. She hated us. Again, we tried to have that family bonding time during dinner. We were out on the porch, and apparently there are no mosquitoes or flies of any kind in Mexico because she spent the entire dinner swatting herself, saying, the fly, the fly. Then when she did eat, she'd pretend to throw up the food over and over again on her plate. Not what you'd call fun. But the nights were the worst. She'd go to her room and just wail and cry and scream. And one night I had a friend over that spoke a little Spanish, and I said, what the hell is she saying? And she said, she's saying she wants to go back. Oh my God, really? So we did what any normal American family would do at that point. We called a therapist. And the therapist said to me, well, do you have a bedtime routine for her? And I said, yeah, well, after she vomits at the table and screams and yells and cries, I put her to bed, and that's our bedtime routine. But then I began to think, wow, with my older daughter, when I put her to bed and I sang her little songs like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and read her bedtime stories, it was so nice. So, think about it. So I was at her room, standing outside her room, a week or so later, and I could hear her in there. The fly, the fly. I came into her room. I said, Priscilla, there are no flies in this room, I sat down on the bed and tried to talk to her. I leaned in to try and give her a hug when I felt something swish past my head. Yeah, I was right. There were no flies in that room. It was a goddamn bat. I could see it flying. It had this little night light, and I could see the shadows. It was darting in and out. And I covered it with the blankets and screamed for my husband, get the hell up here. So he got a broom and he wailed away at that damn thing and finally killed it. And I peeled back the covers. And she was a sweaty mess. And I was a sweaty mess. And I sat down and tried to hug her a little bit. And I put my mouth right next to her ear and started to sing, Estrellita, ¿dónde está mi pregunta que será? En el cielo y el mar, un diamante de verdad. Estrellita, ¿dónde está mi pregunta que será? And I looked at her. I opened my eyes. Hers were closed. She was breathing, and I softly tiptoed out of the room.